Hola mis reinas y mis reyes. Welcome to episode 3 of Reinas Be Heard. I know it's been a few months, per usual, of me coming on here, sharing some advice, sharing ideas, sharing, my thoughts on certain topics. But the past few months, I should say, I'm over here thinking it's been multiple months of not talking to you guys, but for my listeners that do tune in, thank you so much. And thank you for still listening to me. From my first episode to the second episode, I did see the shift, and consistency, like I said on my last episode, does really matter. So we're trying. We're trying out here to continue and using this platform as a way to just, open up. I'm a very introverted person. And although it doesn't seem like it sometimes, I am very shut off and very quiet. But a lot has happened. Let's just go straight into the episode. A lot has happened in my personal life. As you can see, the title of today's episode is called La Reina Esther. And it's in honor of my grandma who passed away. She passed away March 27th. And very, very shocking way. She passed away of a heart attack. Never did I expect that I would be even recording an episode about this. Very strong woman, very, very active, very alive woman. But she had inner cries, I guess. She had inner cries where only her and her prayers and God understood why things happen. I don't understand why it happened, and I don't think I'll ever understand why it happened, but that's why I've been very silent. I still get on social media here and there. I'm obsessed with Instagram, so you'll see me on there posting things, but in my life personally, in my walk and my own journey, it's been kind of difficult to still very fresh, still very new. And I've just, not to make it a sad episode, not to make it a down episode, but I've been struggling. I've been struggling to push forward because I live with guilt. I live with just the thought of not being able to move forward without thinking of her. And I'll be laughing, I'll be talking to my husband, enjoying my baby girl. And then I just get glimpses of her and I'm just like, well, damn, like she's not here anymore. And so those are just the things that I've been struggling with. There's been some exciting news within all of that tragic event. I definitely felt like she was looking out for me in heaven as well as, God. I did get a new job. It's a little bit different. Still in the same field that I was working in before. I know a lot of people have asked, oh, so what is it that you do? What is it that you're doing? Chismosos. I'm just kidding. But no, I do appreciate everyone that's reached out and interested in what's going on in my life. You guys are so sweet. But yes, I still am in the same field, a more leveled up position, thank God. Hard work really does go a long way, and I'm starting to reflect the more prayer and manifestation and confirmation and just actually speaking into existence over your life, how it goes a long way, and believing in yourself, taking that leap of faith. And so, yeah, when my grandma passed away, I want to say like 2-3 weeks later, I got a new job. And then my baby girl's birthday was right, her first birthday was right afterwards. And the part for me that was really, really hard to accept in the whole passing of my grandma was the night before. One of my tias had reached out, and life happens. You're moving fast. You're moving forward, and something told me answer that phone call. And I'm very close to this tia. Shout out to my tia Betty. She's been one of the many reinas that have helped me in my journey to become the woman that I am today. And very close to her, but like I said, life happens, things move forward, and so we hardly communicate phone. So that night that she had called me, it was the Sunday before her passing. I felt something in me to, yes, answer that phone call. Whatever you do. I didn't answer the first time because I was driving. I had my sisters in the car and the baby. And I texted her. I was like, as soon as I get home, or as soon as I get to my mom's house, because I was heading to my mom's house, I'll answer. I'll text you. I'll FaceTime you, rather. And she was like, okay, yeah, we're here. We just want to see the baby. I was like, okay, for sure. For some odd reason, my mom was in her room. I went up there with the baby and my sisters. We were all there laughing, chatting it up. My grandma was there. She was like letting us know the baby's birthday's coming up. We're so excited. Cannot wait to celebrate her. I was like, yes, abuelita, yes, my yaya, is what I used to call her. Yeah, we're gonna celebrate her. We're so excited. No podemos esperar hasta que te podemos ver. My grandma lived in LA, about like an hour and a half, 2 hours from here, 3 hours with traffic. So, like I said, life is busy, life is tough, and we like I said, I got to have some time with my grandma. There was years, a year or two that I lived with her, with my parents and my sister. So I had a good life with her. I had time with her, but it was still kind of hard, accepting the fact that she's gone now. And that night when we had said goodbye, again, it's just weird how life is. I had noticed that my mom had told her, good night, Mom, I love you. And my mom and her siblings, I've never really experienced them express like, hey, I love you. Ya sabemos que en la cultura hispana, in the Hispanic culture, no se dice mucho eso. No se dice te amo or, sabes, I'm proud of you. It's just more of like hechos and acts and deeds that we do for each other. Así es como demostramos el amor. That's how we demonstrate our love with them. And so that night I had noticed, she was like, okay, Mom, have a good night. I love you. And that was that. We had asked her before we hung up with her, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Because my grandma was having some health concerns and some health issues, pero siempre creemos en nuestra creencia. Like I said in the previous episode, you believe what you believe. I have my belief, and it's never failed me. So we've seen miracles in her life. We've seen through our prayers healings in her life. So when she had told me, estoy bien, me siento fortalecida, me siento bien, yeah, she was a very strong woman. So we hung up. I wish I could have screenshotted the image of her saying goodbye, but that's like imprinted in my mind. Her looking at me with a big smile, waving with both of her hands, and saying goodbye. Little did I know that was going to be the last goodbye. But I'm just grateful for that image. Because when I received the call at 4-5 in the morning that she had passed, I just couldn't believe it. I couldn't wrap my brain around it. It just felt like a big nightmare. It just felt like, are you kidding me? I was just talking to her. We just had a conversation. She was breathing an hour ago. Like, those were just the thoughts going through my head. And when I found out the passing, I just immediately thought of my family. Like, oh my gosh, this is the first passing that we've ever gone through in my personal life. She's the first person to have left this earth. And I wouldn't wish this pain on anybody. I've been through a lot in my life, but this pain of losing somebody. I've witnessed, my husband's passing of both his grandparents, and it was painful for me because I've grown a relationship with his grandparents. I've grown, love towards them. So when they had passed, it hurt me. It did affect my life too. And then when his cousin had passed away, it was just a tragic passing that also rocked my world. That I was just like, oh my goodness, like in such a short amount of span of time as well. That I it did affect, and it hurted. It hurt, I should say. But when it's someone close, as in someone that she's a part of me, she's my blood, she's my everything. She was our rock on my mom's side of the family, because she's the only one that we had on my mom's side of the family. My grandma had many many men in her life, but como sabemos en la cultura hispana, again, these men, they weren't men. Bien machistas, bien, typical Mexican man, that they would just use a woman and then impregnate her and then leave her to survive on her own. And so seeing my grandma go through that, seeing that she's the only one that I have, it was like definitely like mind rocking, and just so insane to me that I would go to funerals. I would tell, the loved ones, I know my heart is with you. I go through this with you. I'm there with you. But until we actually go through it, like we don't know. So if you have your loved ones with you, if you have those that still surround you, take this as your sign. Take this as your reach out to them. If you still have your grandparents with you, hug on them, love on them. I still have my set of grandparents on my dad's side, and I don't. I when you're young and moving, you don't realize how precious time is, how precious time here on earth really is, because you only have one life. You only have one opportunity to leave a stamp here on earth, and she definitely left that stamp on us. And so, again, take this as your sign to reach out to family members, reach out and see how they're doing. Just let them know how much you love them, how much you were there with them, how much you're there for them. I know that toxicity lives in family members as well. And if you don't have that in your life, just know you are loved. You are appreciated as a human being, whether it's family, whether it's friends that you created as family. The point is, just reach out to whoever you have that is close to you. That way they know that you are there for them, because we each go through each of our battles. We all struggle through what we struggle with, and it's just a very crazy world out there. So that's just my word of advice for this episode. And just to talk more about Reina Esther, about that beauty that raised me to be, again, the woman that I am today. She was just a true warrior, very strong woman. Like I was saying, that she had multiple partners, not because, it's what she was as a person. No, she was someone who strived to make a living for her kids. She strived to, make a household name for her kids, and that's what she did. And that's what the Hispanic culture is if a woman is without a man, she's worthless, she's nothing. I'm glad that we've gotten out of that stigma. We're breaking those generational curses as the women that we are today, that you don't need a man. Yes, a man is, you know, he's very essential. He if you do have one, take care of him, take care of your relationship. I struggle with that daily, constantly. But at the end of the day, it's not what defines us as women. I really wish that we would have been taught that at a younger age, especially in my grandma's generation. That way she can see her worth. And eventually she did. Eventually she came to Christ and she realized he's the only man I need in my life. And I watched her example, and she, from very young age, she was sold to work hard. So at a very young age, she struggled. But as she got older, hearing stories passed down to us, like I said, she made a life. She came out here to America, and she was always grateful for this life. The one thing that she always thanked God for was the opportunity to come over here and make a life for her kids, and now her grandkids, and then her great grandkids. I'm grateful that she got to meet my daughter, and she taught her most of the milestones that my daughter does now. She claps. Her favorite song, if you know the Christian song Alabaré, every time that my grandma would sing it for her, she'd look at her, smile, clap, and now to this day, whenever we do it, she's there clapping, smiling, like she remembers it. Like if my grandma was singing it to her, she taught her how to blow a kiss. She taught her, she just taught her a lot of those really special memories that I'm grateful for, because now whenever my daughter sees it, I see my grandma's memory living on in her. And although it is tough, although it is hard, and a lot of the stages of grief do try to get me down, I stay pushing. I stay pushing because I know that my grandma was a very happy person. She was the type of person that, although her life may seem bad or not luxurious in the eyes of others, in her eyes it was luxurious because it's what she had, it's what she built. And like I said, I look at that example, and I just, not everything in life is materialistic, and that's what she taught me. Life is definitely what you make it, and that's what she strove for. When growing up, one of the fondest, very funny memories that I have with her, living with her, was that I had this habit of eating lime with salt. And for those that don't know, lime with salt makes you retain a lot of water. It's very bad for you, but I just was one of those kids that just loved to do that. And so she's in the kitchen, I'm in the living room, and I'm over here thinking, oh, she doesn't see me, because my grandma used to hate whenever I did that. And there I am eating it, thinking she doesn't see me, and then all of a sudden I just feel a slap on the face, and me dicen, no andes comiendo esas cosas, te vas a engordar, vas a ser todo mal para tu salud, ya te he hablado varias veces. And my grandma was a very, very strict person, not scary, but she was, stern in the sense of you knew that she meant business. So that's one of the other memories that I remember of her beautiful voice. Siempre cantaba un día a la vez con sus rancheras, sus bandas, and she's just your typical Mexican, Latina, fortalecida mujer. Like she was that girl. And I wanted to create this episode in memory of her. For any of my listeners, if I have my family members listening, that they know that she loved them. And although some of us did have language barriers with her, her love was just great for each and every one of us. She knew that each and every one of her grandkids was a prize, was, you know, she celebrate each and every one of us, every one of my birthdays. I have a recording of her singing happy birthday to me, and that'll forever remind me that she loved us so much, that she constantly prayed for us, for her kids. And although grief makes us want to isolate ourselves and, you know, stay away from others, that's the opportunity to go out and be around people. And if you're hurting, voice it. If you're, you know, not feeling well, voice it, because we're killing ourselves by living with that guilt. I could have done more. Why did it happen? We're killing ourselves with the why. We're killing ourselves with how do I move forward with this? Like, that's the state that grief wants to keep us in. And I'm just here to say, like, anything that we do here on earth, if you're grieving a loved one or if you're grieving someone that was very important to you, everything that we do on this earth is in memory of them. Like, they wouldn't want us to be sad and crying all the time. They wouldn't want us to be thinking of them in an ugly memory, in the tragedy of it all. They would want us to, you know, live our lives and in memory of them, do something greater in the community, do something greater for one another, in our family members. They would want us to, you know, fix broken relationships, set boundaries for ourselves, just, you know, live life for them, and continue it. I think of Daniel, our cousin Daniel, who passed away at such a young age. I'm constantly living for him. He died, you know, in a very tragic accident, but he was the most loving person, the most happiest person in the world. It's unfortunate that he was taken away from us so soon, and just the fact that at his funeral we were watching videos of him just living life and living it up, and he would constantly say that when I pass away, don't let the party stop. And it's just like, that's a reminder for us here on earth that if that's what they wanted for us, that's how we have to continue living and on for their memory. Like I said, my grandma was a very happy person. She was the type of person that, you know, you didn't know. Like I said, you didn't know she was in pain, if she was, you know, struggling, if she was going through something. And it was so much that when she passed away, I couldn't understand it. And then finding out from, you know, other people that were mingling with her, people that would speak to her, she had her inner cry. Like I said, each and every one of us, as we get older as well, I can understand why she would cry out to God and say, like, take me home. I'm not saying it's because she had no love for her family, but there's a point in our lives, especially starting off so young, she reached the point where she was crying out, and God heard that inner cry. And although some of my family members say, well, I didn't have time with her, I couldn't enjoy, as speaking with everybody, even with myself included, I this, I that, it's me, what about the time with me? And it's like, it's a selfish reason, because if she was suffering and she was crying out and she was saying, I want to go home, there's no other way around than to think, now that she's resting, she's in a better place. And grief is such an ugly thing to go through, and it definitely does come like waves. I always thought it was just cliche that people would say, but like I said, one minute I'm happy, one minute I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and then the next I watch a video, I hear a song that reminds me of her, I just start bawling, and I'm just cry out to God, I cry out to my spirit, and I just say, be strong and push forward. And that is why it's always a great idea to keep in touch with people and just make sure that your loved ones are okay, because we do definitely do struggle and fight battles that we don't even know how big or how strong they are. Definitely be a kind person. It's a struggle out there, I know it is, but just a small amount of kindness goes a very, very long way. And although this episode does seem mundane, it does seem, you know, a very, very, very mellow episode. I felt like it was necessary. I felt like I had to put this stuff out there for any listeners that are going through something. It's just hearing I'm going through it too. You have me. You can reach out to me whenever you'd like to speak. Like it's definitely genuine. It's definitely true, because I know what it's like to want to have someone there. And thankfully, in my life, I have my sisters and I have my husband that I can come to, and they are always there. I try to always be there for them as well. It's because, like I said, it's necessary. It's necessary to show people that I am there with you. And if you are going through issues with people that are narcissistic, people that, put you down constantly, like, I apologize. But I know you're strong enough to go through it. I know that there's always, always, always light at the end of the tunnel, and you're gonna get through it. I don't know how, but you're gonna get through it. Maybe not now, maybe not if. It's just a matter of when you're gonna do it, and it's gonna happen. And we just have to keep pushing forward, because we do deserve a good life. We do deserve happiness, and that's just created in what we like. So definitely, it's been a tough few weeks. I decided to continue celebrating my daughter's birthday. It was like an inner war within myself. But I know it's one of the things that my grandma would have loved for me to do, because she was so excited to come. She was so ready to celebrate her Nina. That's what she called her. And in her honor, I'm going to go ahead and do it. It's just unfortunate the date I had to choose, because it's the date of our cousin's passing as well. And I'm going to shine light on that day, and just push forward, like I said, because that's all we can do. That's all we can do here on earth, and do something better for ourselves. And again, for those that have tuned in and listened, I love you guys. I really do appreciate the support. I'm doing this. This is my daily journal. I wasn't going to continue with the podcast. It's just an audio only podcast. And I know it's kind of hard if the person's not uplifting, the person's not this, the person that. I was like, you know what? Forget all that. This is my journal. This is my journal for my listeners that, do tune in genuinely. And I'm doing it for you guys. As much as I'm doing it for me, I'm doing it for you guys. And I really do appreciate when you guys reach out and you guys let me know topics that you want me to talk about. It does really help, because brain fart comes in, and now that I'm working from home sometimes, I'm able to post a little bit more consistently. A little bit more, like I said, because life happens and motherhood is hard, but we're doing it. So I hope you guys have a great day, and just keep killing it, like I said in every episode, en lo que están haciendo, en sus negocios, en sus ejercicios. Keep pushing forward. Keep killing it. That's all we can do. I don't know how to outro these episodes, but I still have the Instagram at Reina's Be Heard on Instagram. You can follow me there. I'll be posting the anonymous messaging on there, so you can send for Dear Senya. I love that topic where you can just send questions. I want to talk to you guys. I want to be like that older sister, like that bestie that you just need help with, whatever it is that you need. So definitely reach out to me, and let's keep pushing forward with Reina's Be Heard. I love you guys. Bye.